Hello and welcome to Daily Dose Radio, a 5-minute-a-day podcast studying the Psalms verse by verse, recorded here in the dining room of the Bible Bistro, located in Sharonville, Ohio. Hey there, friend. Welcome back to Daily Dose Radio here in the Bible Bistro. Well, hasn't Psalm 105 just been a delight? Now, we're not done with it yet. We're going to read today 37 through 40, but we're getting close to the end. And just to go back over things, this has been a psalm about remembrance, and it's important to remember. It's important to remember all that God has done, the promises He's made to the patriarchs, how He kept them, how He kept Joseph and used him and sent him ahead to provide for the people, how He brought the people up out of Egypt after their time of bondage and servitude there. It's important to remember all those things because remembrance leads to thanksgiving and leads to service and devotion. So it's wonderful to do this. And we saw yesterday the grand climax of the signs in Egypt was the death of the firstborn. Now today we're going to be leaving Egypt, so we're remembering that now, beginning here in verse 37. He brought them forth also with silver and gold, and there was not one feeble person among their tribes. Egypt was glad when they departed, for the fear of them fell upon them. He spread a cloud for a covering and a fire to give light in the night. The people asked, and He brought quails, and satisfied them with the bread of heaven. So we have again, we're going back to the book of Exodus. Psalm 78 drops out at this point, because Psalm 78 is not concerned with how God provided for them. And all of this is about His provision. So you notice verse 37. He brought them forth with silver and gold. You remember that the people were told to go and ask their Egyptian neighbors for any jewels or gifts that they would give them as they left. And the Egyptians gave them an abundance of silver and gold and jewels and jewelry. And so all of that was given to them. And there was not one feeble person among them. You remember that they went out strong. They were all healthy. And even their clothing lasted throughout the wilderness march. God did not let it decay or degrade. And so the people, they weren't feeble at all. There was no sick, there were no litters, there was not a hospital. Everyone was okay. God did that for them. Egypt was glad when they departed, and the fear of them fell upon them. Of course, that's what happened. That's the result of the hard-heartedness of Pharaoh and how it affected the people. And because God had done this judging work, they were now afraid of the Israelites because of the way God had protected and provided and defended them. And the fear remained there. He spread a cloud for a covering and a fire to give light in the night. You notice how this is all about He. He brought them out. Verse 36, He smote the firstborn. He spake in verse 34. He smote their vines. So God is doing this work all through here. Egypt was glad when they departed. Verse 39, He spread a cloud for a covering, a fire to give light in the night. So they had the covering by day and the fire by night. They could walk the streets of their camps and see to go wherever they were going to go because there was a fire that was standing over the tabernacle, which was in the center of their camp. The people asked, and He brought quails and satisfied them with the bread of heaven. So that's Exodus chapter 16. The cloud for covering is Exodus chapter 14. And the silver and the gold is Exodus chapter 12. All of these things remind us of God's provision for the people. He satisfied them with the bread of heaven. It says there in verse 40. And of course, that reminds us of the manna, which is we find that recorded for us in Exodus chapter 16, along with the quails that He brought for them to eat. Now, tomorrow we'll conclude Psalm 105 and read verses 40 through 45, 41 through 45. So I hope that you'll join me then here on Daily Dose Radio. Thanks for listening to Daily Dose Radio. For more fresh and delicious Bible studies, podcasts, books, and more, check out the Bible Bistro online and on YouTube. Join me again next time for Daily Dose Radio.